What's up and welcome back, guys, to another year of 2025 All You Can Eat Warriors, and we're grateful to be back, and we're looking forward to hanging out with you guys. Especially, I'm back with my man Ash. How you doing, my man? Great to have you back. Welcome back to the new year, man. How you doing?
Good, brother, good. It was good to have a little bit of a break there, catch up with family and all that sort of stuff. New Year's resolutions, as we all have planned and put in our goal book, hopefully smashing goals this year, and hopefully the Warriors smash a couple of goals. And let's not prove James Graham right 2 years in a row, please. Can we not do that? Please, can we not do that, guys?
Yeah. I hope so. I really do hope so. And yeah, poor James, he's gone with the sideways pick, so he's predicting us to stay pretty much where we are. But we'll definitely get into that. Just want to big up everyone in the chat. My man, 40. Chat's open for the pause. Yeah, the impoverished are back. They're allowed to speak. They're allowed to share their word. The elites are no longer allowed. So now, welcome in, bro. Hope you've been good. And good to see Fanatics. Yeah, we're doing well, man. Wishing you a good start to content for the year. Hope you're going well with everything that you're doing. Our man Jazz, Tahi Mo, good to see you, brother. GT, yes, sir.
GT.
Zach, yes, you can comment now, man. Yeah, welcome in. And T Mackie, exactly. T Mackie joined last night, so he's joined the elites. But now we welcome everyone, and especially our man Josh Hill. The jersey is on, Ash, man. Big shot. It's looking fresh. It's looking clean. The hairdo is looking good.
Is that 95?
The moustache, the bear. Look, and actually the headphones. The headphones match the collar of the shirt, so it's all color coded, man.
I love my red, baby. Love my red. So
you actually got a legit shout for Luke Metcalf here. So
yeah, Jacko
we need you.
Like Jacko.
You might have to come back here, man, and be doppelganger for Luke. You might have to jump on the field if he gets injured. Man, that'd be crazy. Imagine that.
I'll tell you this: I could not move as quick as that guy. I probably have a sidestep on me, but I can't move as quick as that man. No way.
Welcome in, Greg Hook. Great, hope you're doing well, man. Yes, from Taranaki. The toilet inspector. Wow, that's a great name. Look at that shiny toilet there.
That's a shiny.
Just found your channel. Huge Warriors fans. Can't wait for the season to start. Hey, thanks, bro. Mr. Toilet, welcome in, man. Hopefully the team keeps the toilet clean this year. We don't want any messy performances like last year, bro. But no, welcome in, man. Ash, man. Actually, just quickly check in with everyone. I know you've kind of been doing streams. How has your off season been? What have you been up to? Just kind of let people know what you've been doing and how you've been, man.
Been good, brother. Been good. As I said, I got into a lot of family time. I kind of stopped, content creation for a little period there. I think everyone needed a break after the year that we had, and also just NRL, rugby league football. Sometimes the year can be a little bit too long. I think a lot of people do agree with that. But even for that little short period of a break, I still had Fox League on the old TV, watching all the old games. Catching up on a lot of the older games and stuff, and seeing how teams were playing and that. Then I started deep diving in stats again. I always found myself back going through this same old cycle, but But I think the thing that kept me at ease through this little period there too. I haven't got the book next to it; it's next to my bed. But I've been reading up on Ivan Cleary's book. I think that's been really good.
Wow. Yep.
Bro, legit, really good stories in there. Obviously, you know, the whole like what happened with the Penrith Panthers, what happened to the Warriors. Like, there's a lot of really cool little stories there. He shout out obviously Andrew Webster and Serraldo, so that was good. And I've got a couple other books I want to get into, like Ange Ball, you know, Ange Postecoglou for the Tottenham Hotspur. Obviously, I'm not a Tottenham Hotspur fan. I'm an Arsenal fan, but
we're not doing too well right
Ange.
now.
Shout out Australia.
yeah, big up Ange, big up Ange.
But yeah, bro, that's been me, man. Like that, watching all the sport, the Aussie cricket team getting up, you know, NFL, NBA, you know me, man. But it's so good to talk about footy again. I have missed it a lot.
Good, yeah. And shout out from Jackson and Georgia Hard's video. That was really in-depth analysis, man. And guys, go check out. You're doing well on your channel as well. But anyone that hasn't already, go subscribe to Ash Thomas on YouTube. Doing really well. And we got Clough, man. And I think Clough, you've moved over to Aussie, if that's correct. Yeah, so congratulations. Living on the Gold Coast, good on you, man. Yeah, and if ever gets a game over there, not sure if there's a Gold Coast game this year. Might be. We'll catch up with Ash sometime, or, you know, we'll make a trip over there. So, now, awesome, man. Welcome in, everyone. Yeah, great to see everyone in the chat. Tams, 40. I think we got mostly everyone in that's in at the moment. Hit that like, guys. Hit that subscribe.
Crazy. Chat's going crazy tonight, bro.
Yeah, everyone's been dying to get back into footy, man, and it's good that we're back here. So yeah, man. Let's start with a topic, I suppose. I probably want to start one topic I didn't really cover last night, but is a kind of important topic. Obviously, we talked a little bit about Tohu retiring.
Yeah,
but I just want to quickly talk about. I talked about who's the replacement for Locke, and we came up with some suggestions for that. But really, the big question also is who is the next captain? I just want to get your thoughts on who that person might be. Is there anyone that's kind of standing out to you, or are you thinking of maybe 2 or 3 options at the moment? Let us know what you're thinking, man.
Yeah, man. I'm actually bounced between 2 people here. So, first one, I kind of want to stay loyal to the season that Mitch Barnett had. And obviously, you know, he was the captain when Tohu dropped out last year. I really enjoyed like what he did out in that football field. His leadership was definitely there, and obviously stepping up to the level where he got to the Australian squad, got to the Blues squad. He had a breakout year last year. He was absolutely incredible, and it'd be cool to see him lead the squad out there as well. But the other guy obviously is James Fisher-Harris, and I think they're the 2 names that everyone's throwing up there. I've heard obviously both are either way. I agree with both of them. You know, either way, I feel like this is a kind of the new era of the Warriors, right? We've pretty much come from, you know, Sean Johnson, Tohu Harris through that COVID period as well. It was some tough years there. Those guys have now left us, and you know, Fisher Harris has just come over. Obviously, the Kiwis captain probably helps him in that sort of area as well. But yeah, those are the 2 to have in mind. You could probably co-captain them. I just saw a comment about that. That's probably a really good idea as well. Like it does feel a bit weird just giving the captaincy to a guy that's come straight to the club. But you know, the Doggies did it last year with Critter, and I'd say that for me, you know, James Fisher Harris has just got as much leadership, if not more leadership, than what Critter had. Obviously, being a Kiwis captain and all that, so he could definitely lead us to a new era. So those are the 2 names for me. A lot of people will probably say Roger and stuff. I would probably just leave Roger, just do what he wants to do and get himself back into form. For me, yeah, Mitch Barnett, Fisher Harris, I think are the 2 on my names. What do you reckon?
Very likely. I kind of harken back. Those in the chat that can correct me, but I think Steve Price pretty much came straight in and was a captain for us as well. So that could happen. I mean, that's the type of leadership that if it screams out for it, then sure. But I think Mitch has done well. He's built. I mean, he started when Webby started, so there's that companionship. There's that relationship. Mitch, I get the feeling Mitch is more of a. I know Tohu was really good at. I found Tohu by the end of it, like he was quite good with working with the referees. You know, he kind of had a way. Well, it's always been an issue at the Warriors, and just quickly to go off topic, but the referees have been like, we had Mannering, who really wasn't that kind of get in the face of the ref. We've had a few captains. Steve Price actually was the only one that he used to get right in the ref's face. He was really good at it from memory. But then I noticed Tohu, and I thought, you know, he's a bit more quiet type, but you got to see him, and he was really quite vocal in his own way. I think Mitch could probably be that guy. JFH to an extent. He's more of a lead by example, in my opinion, but no doubt he would be that type of guy. But I've got a front runner for me personally. I think Mitch would be the right pick, and because of him from the Newcastle, we knew him at Newcastle, and I suppose when we got him, we felt like he was going to be this ruthless aggression type guy that was a loose cannon. He used to get sin binned and sent off a lot, and he kind of came here and really changed his career around. So I'm in the same boat. Those are my two picks as well. RTS, I saw that in the chat with Zach and appreciate the thought. I just think RTS is kind of, he's gone out of the group and then he's kind of trying to reintegrate, and I'm thinking that might just be a little bit too much. Would you think the same about that in terms of RTS? Yeah,
I agree. And he's very similar, lead from example sort of guy and all that. I think the only difference, the only thing that I'm sort of conflicted with the two names that I've named, obviously Fisher Harris and Barnett, is usually minutes wise. Obviously both those boys are probably going to bust out 40s, 50s, 60 minutes, but the full 80 minutes, what if we drag both of them off as a double change? We do probably need to have someone that's probably going to be on there for 80 minutes. And other names you could throw out there, like obviously Luke Metcalf wants to step up and be the man. I don't think he's captain material just yet, but maybe a future there. CNK, obviously, he's just been a guy that's just consistently just always, drag, he's always works hard in that jersey. So that's something I do appreciate. But the two big names is Barnett and Fisher Harris. And even though that they'll probably, sometimes they'll both be off the field, maybe RTS can be the co-captain and that sort of opportunity there too. So those are definitely the names there. If you want an 80-minute man, maybe RTS is the way that we go. Because if you actually look at everyone else, you probably go Dal, but I don't think Dal really wants to have that sort of captaincy on his name either. He just doesn't seem that. Oh, maybe. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I think Barnett and Fisher are probably the two big ones that I'm looking at. And they're the leaders for our new future with the Warriors, I reckon.
I think so too. It would be nice to get an out. I mean, obviously, Tohu retired only recently. Would be nice for us fans to get an announcement in the next couple of weeks. And even an interview would be cool, or a little social media piece, depending on who the captain is, just to kind of boost us up for, the year. What I like about Barney and Fish is that they are older heads. If I remember correctly, Manners was still quite young at the time when he became captain. He might have been like 24, 25, something like that age where, Barnett and Fish, they've played obviously the highest level. They've done really well career-wise. I think I'm really comfortable. Here's a shout from Himeki Egan. Yeah, that might be. That's a good little shout. Taint for the ultimate dark horse, Josh. That would be.
Steals imagine that jersey that steals the captaincy. Can you imagine?
You can imagine the social media piece of they reveal from the bottom who the new captain is. It's Taint.
Taint Tuafiki, the burly bear.
Burly bear. Oh, crazy.
That's crazy. I love that.
Now good comments in the chat, everyone. Okay, now transitioning from Tohu, the captain, to Tohu, the player, we understand how massive a role he played. And we kind of saw what we missed of him from last year specifically. His time away in injuries. How do we replace that? Do we replace it like for like? Is there someone that fits his mold, or does the club, we've talked about a little bit last year, changing the role of a 13 and going in kind of a new direction? Where are you at with that, Ash, in terms of what do you think we might do and what maybe should we do moving forward?
Yeah, I'll be completely honest. I don't think you can replace Tohu Harris, especially like a fit, like a fit enough Tohu Harris. Obviously, throughout most of his career at the Warriors, he wasn't fully fit. He was just, carrying on, chugging along. But I think the consistency and leadership that Tohu that we lose in that area is definitely going to be tough. But obviously, bringing Fisher Harris over should cover in that area. Talking about players that can fill in that spot. Obviously, the obvious names everyone's chucking up there is obviously Dylan Walker and Aaron Clark. I don't know if it's too big of a task for Aaron Clark to freshly coming over to the Warriors and give me straight away that 13 role. But I like having Dylan Walker come off the bench as well. Obviously, he can fill in multiple different positions, so maybe Aaron Clark should get that first shot with that 13 jersey. My smoky for it, and this is a smoky, guys, I don't think it probably will happen this way, but I do think this guy's going to get a bigger role this year anyway. Vai Moanga, formerly known as Sifakula, If everyone didn't know, obviously he changed his name to his mother's maiden name over, when he did sign that contract and stuff. But when he come through the grade, he was actually a 13. So he played in the middle. If you go watch his older highlights, he played at the Redcliffe Dolphins when we're over at COVID times and stuff. He's got really silky ball playing skills for a big body. Oh, he's pulled that away a little bit when he's gone to that front row role. But I think we've seen it a couple of times as well, even in preseason trials and that it's enough for me to say that I reckon he could do a job in that role. I do think that we'll start playing a little bit more direct without Tohu, because I think Tohu did have that a little bit of the he gets straight really deep into the line, had that real silky ball out the back, and that sometimes later on, obviously it slowed down that out the back play, and teams could shut down on us early. But having Dylan Walker there just speeds everything up a little bit. It's just going to be a different sort of style that we have. I think we're going to play a lot more quick, direct sort of football. I think that's just the way it's going to have to go. So that's why it's the difference with Tohu not being there. Tohu was a little bit more, what would you say, like cerebral. Like, he was, pick your passes, he'd run when he needed to run, or he was slow to the line and he'd pick the right pass. I think everything's going to be real quick, smart with Dylan Walker, Aaron Clark, and maybe Vi Moanga in the middle. I reckon that's going to be a really devastating little thing to watch out for the future for sure.
Say if you go with a Walker and Aaron Clark, does that also advocate for CHT as a utility on the bench, or does that overkill in your opinion, having a CHT kind of there obviously as hooker cover but also as a lock cover? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you could probably open it up to CHT being on the bench and being a hooker cover, a 13 cover if it really needs to, a center cover. Like, we've seen him play center before. Back in the Stacey Jones days, Stacey put him out at fullback in those days, which I didn't agree with, but he did do it and he could play that position if he needed to. So, I think that he'd be definitely one of the better options for our 14 jersey. I'm really wondering where Webby's going to go with that this year, because he does still have a plethora of opportunities the way that bench should fill out. Obviously, we got Sam Healy coming over to the club now too, being in that hooker rotation. He'll probably play a little bit in New South Wales Cup before that sort of talks. Freddie Lussick, from all knowledge, is killing preseason again, as he usually does. He's such a hard trainer, so he might win a 14 jersey. I'm not too sure, but it definitely opens up the opportunity for CNK to be more of a utility. Do I want him to be that utility? I don't know. Like, I probably would have loved him to be down with New South Wales Cup and work with Tanner Boyd and really build a really strong New South Wales Cup team for the future. And then obviously, build with players like obviously Jet Cleary's at the club and stuff, and really nurture the young juniors coming through. And but if he really wants to be a utility now, and that's as he sees him at, get him in that 14 jersey and use him any spot that we could use him for.
Yeah. I agree with both. I agree with both kind of avenues for him. Webby has been adamant from previous press conferences that he is a half in his eyes. He's always kind of said that, but he has used him as a utility. So I think it's kind of a wait and see. But there's a lot of guys nipping at the heels. Sam Healy, like you said, Aaron Clark is filling that space now. A bigger body that can do a bit of ball playing. So it's kind of like, where does CHT fit? But let's not kid ourselves. When injuries happen, a lot of the guys like Pompey and guys that we thought were going to, it ends up being a lot of the guys like CHT filling in. So I think it's all hands on deck. I agree with you. Do some time in cup, but it's not like we're never going to see him. It's like, within 4 or 5 weeks, things change very quickly.
Things can change so quickly, bro. And like it did so badly last year. I hope Webby doesn't have to go through that injury toll like we did last year. We had the second worst injury toll in the NRL last year, and the Rabbitohs probably had an all-time worst injury toll that I've probably seen in the NRL. So it was a devastating year for us injury-wise. He definitely had to think on his feet for a lot of those periods there. And another name, obviously, to throw up, I kind of spoke on him a little bit before, but Freddie Lussick, obviously playing in that 14 jersey. We did see towards the end of last year, he was tinkered in a little bit of a middle role if we had to, with the injury going down. Do I like him in that role? Probably not. Like, I still feel like his defense is incredible in that, but definitely our attack is just like doesn't really go too well with Freddie in like a 13 jersey or anything like that. But he's definitely another option there that could play in a 13 if we really needed him to. But I think that CNK would probably be the top of the list for utility, also with Dylan Walker.
Yeah, we might get into a little bit about construction of the first team. It's a good question. It's a good thought, actually. Fanatics saying here, having a consistent spine is going to be the key for us this year. It is. It really 100%. Is. We know how important regularity and combinations and all those things are. So definitely agree with that comment. But yeah, let's get into a little bit of a different topic here. I know halves pairing has been big. I know people are starting to kind of talk about that in the chat. You've done a
100%.
massive video on it, which is amazing. And guys, if you haven't already, go and check that out.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's changed your mind or any other things you've thought about in the last couple of weeks that they're giving you food for thought to who your who your halves pairing is? Anything that's I've kind of laid it out as my view has been. I'm more focused on the combination as
Yeah.
opposed to the individual ability.
Mm-hmm.
A combination for me is more key. Yeah, you have to have obviously individual ability, but I look at the best halves in the pairings. Yes, you have individuals like Nathan Cleary, but when you add that Nathan Cleary with a, what's his name? I've been in the off season so long.
Not Jack Cole. You told last year, Jerome Luai.
Yeah, Jerome Luai. My apologies, guys.
Yeah. You're right, bro.
Yeah, that's like a yin and yang, and it works perfectly for them. I'm looking for more of that personally than an actual individual. But yeah, what's your thoughts, bro? I would love to hear anything come into mind.
Yeah, obviously I won't try to take too much time because I did a big deep dive video, and every time I get asked this question, I do get into a little bit of a deep dive here overall. But I think my thoughts overall hasn't changed at all. I prefer Tamade Martin and Luke Metcalf, and I don't care what jersey you put on either one of the two, just because I feel like the balance that I've seen them play with can take either one of those roles. I've seen in preseason a couple of years ago, even recently as well, they've had a New South Wales Cup game that when you see them both play together, their balance is so incredible to where like sometimes one will take the reins for more so than not, and the other will take the other reins. And I believe that Metcalf, he wants to be the 7. He's proven in certain games that he can be a kicker. There's been a game I pointed out, he versus the Rabbitohs, fresh back off an injury. He kicked for 389 meters, a 40-20. He had big moments in that game on his kicking boot. He has the ability to do so. So I think that will be our best option. The reason why it's still up in the F, man, I'm not against anyone that says Tanner Boyd. It's just I want to see Tanner Boyd in a Warriors jersey first and see what development we can put into him to grow in all the areas that he faults at. Like for me, he faults at his passing game's definitely not as good as Tamade Martin, Luke Metcalf, and even for sometimes for me, Shino Harris-Tavita. His kicking game is definitely better than all those guys all together. I would say more so his kicking game with the bigger boot is probably better. I still think that short kicking game, Tamade Martin wins out in that area as well. His grubber kicks in behind is definitely a lot more lethal from what I've seen personally throughout the career. But the long kicking game, which is what a lot of people are talking about, Tanner Boyd definitely beats him out in those areas. But the reason why I throw back to Luke Metcalf showing ability that he can kick like that is every time I've seen that, connection of Tamade Martin and Luke Metcalf, guys, also just check it out. There was a Parramatta Eels game last year, New South Wales Cup. There's a preseason game against the Tigers. There's 2 of them. They've been connected with each other, and just see how silky our attack did. And not even look at the opposition, the names on the opposite side of the field. Just look at how those guys are directing the ruck. Look at how they're moving between each other, and they're just in sync. Like a good halves pairing, one doesn't sit the other way and just swing around. Some do, some don't. But these two are swerving either side of the ruck either way, and they were just like a pendulum. It was incredible to watch, and that's something I'm excited for. And I asked you the question before we jumped into doing all this again. It's like, what was the 2 big issues that we had last year? We could do everything in between the 20s so well. We can get to the opposition 20 like ease. We were the second best team in the competition for field yardage and getting into the opposition 20. What did we struggle with? We struggled with getting over the line. And the only time that we ever saw that we got over the line was with Tamade Martin in that number 7 jersey. So for me, I'm waiting on Tanner Boyd. I'm waiting on his development because obviously we also got to remember he was a Titans reject. I don't mean that in the harshest way possible, but the Titans finished lower than what we were last year. Forget about the wins they had against us, all that sort of stuff, right? Yeah. They still were lower in the ladder. And the year that he had the full 23 games of the season that year, they still finished bottom 4 that year. They weren't a great side, and that was with directing a team with Kieran Foran next to him. Okay?
No,
so he needs development. He does need development, and I'm not hating on him. I hope he can get there because he's got potential. But that's the thing. He's got potential. That's all we see.
No, I said the same thing. why are we putting out the red carpet for him when he's the one that's come through and he's been knocked back by his own club? You know what I mean? It'd be different if we got in, say, a Trindle or someone that's actually was the top man or even the starting halves at their club.
Yeah.
And they came over. Of course, you're going to put him in because he's proven it or he's doing it at another job. This is a guy that hasn't even, let's be honest, was struggling to make his own halves appearing in his club. So I'm not discrediting him, and I wish him the best. If it ends up being Boyd and Metcalf, bro, I'm all happy for it. But I don't think I think some people think, oh yeah, because he's come from Aussie, because he, guys that come from Aussie, you got to make way for them, otherwise they won't come play. I think he's come here for an opportunity. I doubt many other clubs in Australia gave him an opportunity. So I'm not saying. I don't think Webby's come in and said, "Yep, we're going to make everything great for you because you're coming from Aussie and we really need you." Blah blah blah. It's like, no, you want an opportunity, sure, earn it, work for it, and if you do earn it, great. So I think sometimes we get into this trap as Warriors fans, and we have this PTSD that if someone comes from Australia, man, we've got to give them a starting job because we'll lose them if they don't hang around.
Yeah.
Whereas the reality is, mate, we're a development club. We're moving into a new role. You have to earn your stripes, no matter who you are, barring guys at a top level, obviously. Yeah.
To add what you just said too, I think a lot of people, like when we have these discussions, right? I want people to also take into the fact of like I'm a very optimistic Warriors fan, right? But I don't think we're going to be a top 4 team this year. And I don't think the halves pairing that we're going to run out there is top 4 potential. So when we're talking about this, we're talking about a halves pairing that's just going to try to get us to the 8 and develop. If we have an amazing year, get top 4, fuck, we're all happy. Like that's going to be amazing. But we're talking about halves here that, as you said last night, they're all fairly on a similar level. I saw really amazing things from Tamate Martin last year, but we haven't seen that from Tamate like consistently over his whole career. Like that was a really good little sample size of the Warriors, and we're hoping that can replicate themselves again. And we also got Tanner Boyd coming over, as we just touched on again, a guy that was at the Gold Coast Titans, which like we know the past couple of years have been a worse side than the New Zealand Warriors, and he wasn't good enough for that side next to a more experienced halfback of Kieran Foran. Like, so it just... I think a lot of people have got to remember when we have these discussions I'm happy with Tanner Boyd out there. I'm happy with Luke Metcalf, Shino Harris-Tavita, Tamate Martin. But when I have these arguments of Tanner Boyd and stuff, it's like people are going, but he's not going to take us to a premiership. It's like, we're not in the premiership business right now. Last year was a hope, right? We all hoped. I saw the premiership last year. I was like, maybe that's our opportunity. But now that Sean Johnson's gone, we didn't have that amazing year that we had in 2023. Premiership's not there anymore. We got to look at a top 8 and build for the future. And I think, when we have, Tanner Boyd, Tamate Martin, Jet Cleary in the future, whatever happens, we're moving to a top 8, not a top 4 sort of finish. We don't have that sort of halves depth right now.
Yeah, like no one's screaming in the halves to me like, this is the lead guy. Like, they all have their flaws. They all have their weaknesses. They have stuff to prove as well. Like, dead set.
Yeah.
I know Metcalf has got it. He's got a full year to prove to me that he can be the guy. And, I think he will be. We need to see it play out. Like you said, let's see Tanner Boyd in the jersey first. Let's see how it looks. And then we'll make our assessment there. But I've always said Webby.
Knows, bro?
Oh, you go, yep.
Yeah, who knows, bro? Like, he's only had a small he's had a preseason with us, right? But who knows? He could come out in the preseason, learn a little bit. His ball playing with the Warriors could be a lot better, right? And maybe it was the environment of the Titans when we're, going off of, maybe he goes to the Warriors and his ball playing isn't as bad as what we've seen in the past, or, his actual like game, like his actual game in general takes an uptick, and he is the guy that leads us to the future. But we just need to see it first. And that's the thing is, like, right now with everything I've seen, the statistics I've seen, I prefer Tamate Martin, Luke Metcalf. And if they prove me wrong, I'm happy. I'm a Warriors fan. I'm going to ride them all the way to the end. So that's just the way it's going to be.
Yep. And I've always said, and Josh, I'm not I think Metcalf is the guy. I've said he is the guy.
Oh yeah,
I think he
100%.
should be the guy. All I'm saying is health-wise, I just need to see a full season of it. That's all I'm saying. But for me, it's all about, like I said, this is the one thing for me. Once you settle who that combo is, let them have the whole season pretty much, barring injury or bar, it just blows up, which again would kind of be an alarm bell for me because, but I just want to see whoever that combo is given the time to develop. And like I said, it's whoever balances each other out well. You've talked about that shape, style between Metcalf and Tamaide. Like, yeah, we haven't seen it. We haven't seen it for 2 years at an NRL level. So let's give it a shot to at least see it at an NRL level, or we'll find out. But I'm excited either way. And look again, this is a great comment. I think it was Mitzi Mackey up above. I missed it. We're definitely not in a phase that we this is a great point here. We don't have high level halves yet, unfortunately. So we need to simplify our game or I think that's exactly it. It's creating a game plan that works for these guys. Like Sean, you could probably come up with 4 or 5 game plans, and he could probably do 4 or 5 of them pretty well.
A healthy
these guys,
Sean.
Healthy Sean. So these guys maybe come up with 2 or 3 game plans, and they, and so those are the levels we're talking about. And I agree with you. We're in a kind of a top 8 position. Let's focus on that, but let's definitely pick these guys early and let them settle in. Is my thoughts anyway. Just quickly, we'll just jump into Jazz's quick question. What's your prediction for trial game against Sharks? I might have to get to that game if I'm lucky. Trial games are tricky. They're hard to kind of
very
hard.
And also with Vegas too, bro. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like with Vegas coming up,
yes.
What team are we running out there? What are we going to look at? Are we going to go first team early and then all the boys shoot over to Vegas and we get our second or third team playing against the you know what I mean?
Tough one to call, Jazz, but get out there anyway, man. It'd be great. It's always good to go out to Shark Park and rub it in if we win. Although the few times I went there, it wasn't so successful. But either way, you might want to see AFB give him a little bit of a uppercut. You know what I mean?
He's us.
Just quickly, peace, love, and happiness. Yeah, new channel member. What's your thoughts on TMM and Dylan Walker? I saw in the chat there, I think Tahi said kicking game. Yeah, Dill Walker, he's pretty much a forward these days, at least. I mean, a few years ago, he was a half in many ways, but he's a middle forward now, a lock, but he can fill in when we need to. He's done well to make, in the survival situation. But it's definitely going to be either Tanner Boyd, TMM, Metcalf, those 3 probably, CHT at a pinch. And so, but yeah, great question. Appreciate you sharing.
The way I look at it, bro, is for me, there's one sole member that's probably definitely going to get the role, and that's Luke Metcalf. I think that with the promise that we've got, he's now got a new contract. I know he's had injuries and that, but he's the guy that's set in stone. So we just got to work around that. And whether he wants to be a 6 or 7, we just need to balance him around that. So that's just it. But, I like where your head's at. Defensively, that option sounds great. Both are really good defensively on those edges and stuff. Obviously, kicking game does lack in that area there. Long kicking game more so than anything.
Great point. Just quickly to a piece. Yeah, does anyone else have? There's a few. I mean, kicking game wise, even Tane. I'm not sure if he's got a pretty decent kicking game. There's options there. There's other people that can kick a ball. And Josh Hill, Mets and CHT for me. Wow, that's another combo that hasn't been thought of. No. But appreciate that, Josh. Appreciate you sharing. I just want to quickly change tack for good question from Fanatics. Let's change tack to something else. Question for you, lads, and everyone in the chat. Does anyone worry about Wade Egan, considering the knocks he gets each week? Yeah, I think we all worry about him, right?
100%.
It's not like it's something that we don't wish ill upon him, obviously. But just quickly on that, with Egan and guys with head knocks traditionally doesn't usually get any better over time, especially in that role. Would you go again with an actual hooker cover, how we have traditionally with Lussick, or even a Sam Healy potentially? And what's your actual, for you personally, Ash? What are you expecting from Wade this year? He's had some massive highs, and he's had some, I wouldn't say super lows, but he's had some head knocks and things that have set him back. What are you expecting from Egan this year, at least?
Yeah, I'm hoping for, as we all are, obviously a consistent playing role there. Not too many head knocks, but it definitely is a worry. A lot of people obviously pointed out his tackle form He obviously, in the NRL, a lot of people the new day NRL these days, everyone goes high. They want to cover up the ball. He just seems to get his head, something like, it's a weird thing, but you want to get your head close and really tuck in. It's like a wrestling thing. If you don't, you end up being elastic and you bounce off people. And that's where his head knocks sometimes end up coming into. A lot of them are unfortunate as well. But that would definitely be it. I probably see for Wade Egan maybe a reduction in the minutes until that we see that consistently. And I see everyone already throwing it up already. But I'm really high on the Sam Healy. I've watched a lot of him now over the off season, especially with the New South Wales Cup. TV guys, if you want to go check that out, go check those guys out or whatever. You pay for a subscription and stuff. But he. Similar sort of body, similar sort of movement. Probably doesn't have the ruck deception of a Wade Egan, but he's got a great running game overall. But yeah, I hope that we get to a point where we can have just a, what do you call it, a 50-30 split. Have Egan out there controlling the ruck the way he does, because he's definitely vital for our attack now without Sean Johnson. The way that
great point by Causa here, yeah.
Yeah, well, that definitely is it. So we need a good hooker to direct the middles that we have. And, Wade Egan is probably the best in our club right now for it. And I think that's exactly the reason why we signed Sam Healy, is to cover in case something does go wrong, because he's our next one there. Freddie Lussick's still there too and could do a job, but I think Sam Healy is definitely another one that everyone's watching at the moment.
And I think Sam Healy, and we'll get a good look at him in the preseason. For sure, he's going to play some minutes there, no doubt.
Yeah,
there's no reason for them to really throw Egan in there, barring out first half maybe. And so we'll get to see Healy, guys, and what he's all about. But yeah, you're thinking Lussick isn't that for replacement for Egan when he comes on, and we all know about that. So going in the direction of Healy is actually exciting, because you might get that ruck manipulation, or just even energy from the ruck service, all those things, in a full game over 80 minutes, which will take our team, could lift our team. So there's excitement around it. I'm absolutely. But again, my thoughts on Egan is, yes, the more head knocks you have, the older you get, it can be quite impacting, and it has a kind of like a boxer's chin gets weaker and weaker each time they get knocked out. And no doubt that's the same for footy players. We've seen that with a few guys that have had massive concussions. Who was the guy at the Roosters, the captain? He had to retire. Boy Cordner. Just constant. I'm trying to think who the latest one. There's been a few other ones.
Keary. Luke Keary, recently. Now he's gone to Super League now, but I think that was a big reason why he retired. KP was close. Teddy's even had his issues with that as well in the past. So it's going around the league, but I think with Wade Egan, it's we're all hoping and praying, because he is such a vital piece to us in the middle there too. But also the other factor is, if he does continue to have these head knocks and continue to be in and out of lineup, as you said before, we just want a consistent lineup this year that's going out there and build cohesion, because we missed that completely last year. And I felt like defensively, that's where everything fell apart, is the boys that were playing inside and outside of each other were different players each and every week. And it's so hard to build cohesiveness in the defensive line when you have a new person next year every week.
Yeah, and again, the Fanatics, like we said, we can only hope that he stays injury free all year.
100%.
So yeah, it's a big one. But I agree with Causa. What Causa was saying, it is important to have a good hooker and even a supporting forward player or a lock or whoever to help the halves. You noticed even when Tohu wasn't there, Dylan Walker was really working well with Tamaiti. It wasn't just Tamaiti on his own. It was actually him and Dylan Walker kind of feeding off each other. Then you add in Egan and others. So all those things are really important to support your halves. So 100%. For me, even if it means kind of managing his minutes and you maybe roll with the Sam Healy to kind of fill out a bit more of the time. If we have Egan healthy and playing at a high clip like we know he can, AKA, like last year, a la Rabbitohs game or any game 2023, that's the guy we want healthy, and it's important, really important to our attack and our team. So, yeah,
100%.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It is.
Yeah.
But hopefully, hope and pray he definitely gets over the hump. But again, now it's good to see the Warriors go out there, buy someone like Sam Healy that can also cover if Freddie, Wade Egan goes down. Our next is Freddie Lussick or Sam Healy, depending on how that battle goes. And then Sam Healy is probably your third option there too. So we've got options now, and a kid that has a ton of potential. And I know Sharkies fans are disappointed he is gone. So
Yeah. Hey guys, we're on 22 likes. Can we get that up to 50? There's 51 of you guys in here. Please hit that like button for us. We're trying to get up to minimum 50. We appreciate everyone supporting the channel as
For sure.
well. So yeah, man. Let's change tack again to another area. It's funny because I was listening to Webby and what's his name, Mark Devlin, and Devlin was asking him about where's RTS going to play this year.
Mm.
And we really specifically said, oh, I'm not going to fall for that trap like I did last year. So wait till you see it pretty much on the field. That's an interesting comment. It kind of leaves you in a bit of a loop as to it makes it more mysterious, like, oh, he's going to do something drastic or something different, like play him at fullback. But
Yeah.
where do you think where we might play him? But also, where do you think is best for him? From for RTS and a second year back, and based off what we saw last year, what's the best step for him in your opinion?
I'm going wing. I think for sure as a wing. I think the loss of Montoya going to the doggies has just opened up that spot perfectly for him. We got someone that can run for a good 200, 300 of the best on the wing. And with our fullback option, we got fullback depth. We don't need to have Roger Tuivasa-Sheck's not Daly M Roger Tuivasa-Sheck anymore. I don't think we want to see that.
Yeah.
And the more we're going to play him at fullback, the more miles that it's going to get into his legs, the more you probably end up seeing more niggling injuries coming into his game that he ended up picking up, the calf injury last year that put him out for a little bit there too. So those are the little things you got to worry about as well. He is, 32 now, 31? He's around that age now, right? So he is getting older.
Is.
I want him on the wing. I want him to get through a lot of that work. We got CNK right now, and I believe Tane Tuapiki is our future, and that's a plan. So that's what we're moving on to. If you got RTS at fullback, what are we doing? We're just stunting, obviously Tane Tuapiki, or wherever CNK is going to go is going to pull back one of our juniors that is coming through the grade of Ali Leotar or Tane Tuapiki, right? So we've got to think of this smartly. I think we all want to see Roger to be old Roger again. That period of where he won Daly M, incredible, right? But I think that as Wayne Bennett said, you got to pick the best team and not the best players. You know what I mean? His whole thing is, you don't pick the best players, you pick the best team. You pick the best cohesiveness. We saw last year when you put Roger Tuivasa-Sheck at back, he's incredible at getting out on his own end, but our attacking shape faltered a little bit. We couldn't get out of the back. The playmaking skills of Rogers not up to CNK or Tane Tuapiki's level. So I believe that if we got a plan, it's Tane Tuapiki for the future. CNK is there right now. Rogers going to be our winger, get us out of yardage, which we need this year. Obviously losing Adafin Blake, we add a better winger, quotation marks, than Montoya, a guy that runs for more meters than Montoya. That's going to help us get out of our back end, and that helps our kicking game. That helps so many other aspects of our game. As I said to you before, I believe that Tamani Martin has a better short kicking game than Tanner Boyd right now. Get him in the areas where he can use that instead of getting into the areas that we need a long 50, 60-meter kick to get us out of yardage, where Tanner Boyd's probably a little bit more, prolific. So that's just my thoughts anyway.
And it's a different. I mentioned it last night. It's a different style too, where RTS gives you a bit of breakability. I mean, Montoya and Dallin really good at kind of direct runs from kick returns. With RTS now, you get something a bit of variety. So yeah, and it's good to have him on the field for fullback cover. It might change. It might change your 18th man option. When you have 3 concussions or whatever it is. So there's options there. You think about maybe even 2 games last year or 2023 when Dallin had to fill in at fullback.
Mm-hmm.
Now you might say if we get a concussion to a fullback, now you got RTS at fullback. That's a little bit of an upgrade. That puts your winning percentage up a little bit. Let's say So those are little things that add value to him being on the field. And I agree. Wing is probably the best. You look at those yardage carries 1, 2, and 3. You get those involved. Those 3 involved. You're looking at getting up to the 40-meter line by that point, and then you're over the 50 and into the opposite 40, and then so those are some of the little details I really do think about. Yep.
Well, some of the other argument too, right? If people want RTS a fullback, the only thing I would say to you, I don't think people are wrong for thinking it, because I understand where they're coming from. You can past history RTS, what he was, incredible, right? But you put RTS at a fullback, obviously Tane's not going to get that fullback role in the future, which is probably better to fight it out with CNK. For me, in my head, I think he can push CNK into that level. But we put Roger to the fullback. Who are we putting to that wing? Are we just going to go Bussy Colour in his first year since, New South Wales Cup? He was his first year last year, New South Wales Cup, straight in. Are we going Ed Gossie again? Like, does it not sound better to have, let's say off the kick, Dallin Watene-Lesniak takes it back, gets a hit up, next hit up, RTS, backing it up. Then we got CNK. You know what I mean? Like, if we push CNK to the center, we got no Ali Leotar. We got to pick out Ali Leotar and Berry. And our wing is going to falter. You know what I mean? Like, for me, our best opportunities, RTS on the wing, CNK at back, Dallin on the other side. Then you got Ali Leotar and Berry on either side, who Ali definitely is pushing for a spot now. Like, he's ready for it. So
he is. Again, that's a great comment. The great Wayne Bennett about pick the best team, not the best individuals.
Yeah.
That's symptomatic of the New South Wales Blues, barring last year.
Didn't even bring that up.
But then, okay, the Kangaroo smash. That's fair enough. But yeah, like I totally agree. It's about balance. It's about everything flowing and connecting. Yeah, so I think those things are really important. I'm back on the ball playing part. I definitely agree on that. I don't think CNK has, sorry, not CNK, RTS has that ball playing. The game's evolved a lot. And if you think about his game, let's be honest, his game is predicated on his athleticism, on his footwork. It's never been about his vision or things like that. It's based on his ability to outmaneuver a person through stepping or footwork, speed, acceleration. So I think a lot of the time some fullbacks, they get into that pattern that when they get the ball out the back, they're seeing themselves as the option. So they see themselves as, okay, this is for me to get through the line, and then secondary as a pass. Whereas fullback play this today is actually like another half in many ways. Yes, you need to be a threatening runner, but at the same time, you got to be able to deliver the ball as well. You got to be able to find the cutout pass, all those things, which I think the game's evolved into that as a fullback. And Tane, CNK are more in that mold. That's my thoughts on that. Yeah.
Agreed.
But just quickly finishing. Do you think RTS has better finishing than what Montoya? Because Montoya, my biggest gripe with him was finishing, and kind of that delay. Sometimes we get into our shape and it's be so deep, but it'd be hard for him to get to the corner. Do you think RTS has a bit better finishing than what Montoya was?
I would say yes. I wouldn't say he's a Dallin Watene-Lesniak type finisher in the corner. I think he can grow, obviously, in today. He's an athletic phenom, like he could definitely leap in the air in that. But I remember the Rabbitohs game of last year where we blew out the Rabbitohs, but there was a moment there where he got a little bit of ball in the open space, and it kind of did look awkward for him in the corner. But obviously, we remember his junior days too when he was a Rooster, and he did know his way around getting to the try line and that too. So I think he's a better finisher than Montoya. But yeah, I wouldn't say he's an elite. Like for me, I think Dallin Watene-Lesniak's up there. Like Xavier Coates is probably at the top of that list and all that. Just elite finishes in the corner, leaping in the corner, doing those one-handed rolls where I think Roger's more likely going to be footwork, get to the corner. He's not going to have that incredible big leap and the big arm down, but he'll get it done. And I think that's what we need. And that's the big thing too, is his leadership, his defense, all those big things in the corner. He can read players really well. I think these are all things that would benefit with Roger Tuivasa-Sheck there, because we do remember last year, I felt like defensively, when everyone hated him being a center, he definitely shored up a lot of our defensive issues there on an edge in moments where, we had inexperience, or maybe him and Montoya on the side. Montoya looked more comfortable outside RTS. And I believe that Ali's on that side. I think RTS will make Ali seem more comfortable in the center role, being out there and calling out numbers and stuff like that. Because his experience, he's been around the league for a while. So,
yeah, no, that's a great shot. Interesting angle too, to maybe advocate for Tane to pick. You see a lot of people talking about Tane in the chat as well. As was a little glimpse that we saw with Keanu Kinney at the Kiwis in terms of a shape and a style, kind of playing in that fullback role that kind of you could see Tane kind of being in that role, how Keanu was for the Kiwis. So there's kind of little glimpses that you could see a potential smaller type fullback like like Tane working in a Warriors type system. And I think with especially a younger backline, like working with Berry and Dallin on the other side, it would be awesome to see them open up. So I think that Tane's a definite shout for fullback. And yeah, I think RTS is definitely wing for him. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And the way I think it will play out is I think it will be a battle between CNK and Tane in the offseason. But just knowing CNK, he's got a proper offseason this season, right? Last year, he had a disrupted preseason. He had injury troubles throughout the whole year. I think that's what made everyone think that he had as poor of a season that he actually did have, even though he averaged just around about his best seasons there, running for the meters and stuff like that. But I do think there's going to be a point in this season where Tane is going to take over CNK, and we are going to look into that sort of realm or, and as I keep saying, Tane is our future. We all understand that. I don't think there's too many, clubs will be chasing him, but I'm sure the Warriors are going to be keeping Tane, on our books, especially with all the other fullbacks going around the league at the moment. I'm sure we'll be okay in that area. So Tane's definitely there for the long haul.
Yeah, man. I totally agree with that. Okay, let's keep it moving, guys. Some good stuff. Actually, a question here, and we might tie this in with the younger guys and our kind of expectations for them. Peace is saying, thoughts on Lika Halasima? He seems like a promising Warriors player, especially. Yeah, Lika was huge, and everyone that watched him last year, again, if you feel for these young guys that haven't been truly integrated into the team, they come in random times of the year when we're in pressure moments. And I felt he did amazing in a pressure moment against the Bulldogs. That at that time was a must-win game. He
100%.
stood up. He had some playing. And again, the team. Let's talk about it. Be honest. He wasn't fully integrated, in my opinion. So I think a lot of those boys will be better integrated this year. I'm hoping he cracks it in terms of a top 17. There's a lot of fighting over who gets the spot. But you want them there or thereabouts. And again, like I say, injuries by week 4, 5, even 6, things change. And we've seen it. I've seen it 2 years already. That things can change quite quickly, and he's in there straight away. But what's your thoughts on Lika and the broader younger guys on how they're going to do this year? What position are they fighting for a top 17, or you feel there's some that have cemented it, or where are they at? Specifically, the 4. I think these are the 4 guys: the Vaimaunga, Halasima, and Laban and Mayu.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. My love for Leka. I believe that out of the crop, I still believe that he is the best one that we have out of that crop there. I believe that Sifakula or Vaimaunga is going to be the one that's firstly going to crack and first be the big one there. And I believe he's got a ton of potential as well, right? I love him. But I think that Leka is going to be a combination of everything, and he's going to be one of our favorites for the future. So really excited to see what type of crack he gets this year. We do remember, I went through our predicted team list that many different times. We still got incredible depth this year. I know we had a really horrid year of injuries last year, but depth-wise, we have players that can fill in multiple different positions and really fill in those spots. So I do believe that only one of those guys are probably going to get a decent little crack on the bench to start off with, unless Webby makes a big push for maybe dropping out near Kore to the bench and having Leka start the season. But I don't see that happening just yet. But he is one of my favorites out of a lot. And the one key thing too, it's a weird bug, right? It's a weird bug, and I just hate it every time. But every time I see people talk about Leka Halasima, they talk of him as a middle or a prop. He is not a middle. He is not a prop.
Yeah.
He is an edge back rower, right? He's an edge back rower. He's been an edge back rower for a majority of his career. He played centre, obviously, in that Doggies game when he had to. He played off the bench in the middle as he had to. But NRL.com have him as a prop. Every person I've seen, every person that's been saying that, watch this guy, get excited for this guy. He is a young prop coming through. The Warriors is stop it. You have not watched a lick of him. He coming through a Great New South Wales Cup. He's an edge back rower. He's got the Jeremiah Nenai type effect, but a little bit more aggressive. So he's not him, but I'm so excited for him. That's my little pet peeve. I don't know why it is, but every time I see people go, he's a prop, or he's not. He is not a prop. He's not a prop.
Yeah. It's some good thoughts around that. And the thing with New Cordy is it's so tricky that New Cordy's got to play because he's on 850K. So
that's it.
It's sometimes it's money. It's a monetary thing. So we'd love Halasima to come through, but You know, you're not going to leave. Remember, we talked about that time when AFB was on the bench. You don't leave $1 million on the bench sitting just to teach him a lesson for too long. You can't really do that. And the same for Newcourt, they're going to try and maximize that as well. So there's a bit of politics.
Players, bro.
Yeah.
There's certain players that are going to give us that headache is it's a lot of players that Webby inherited from the Nathan Brown squad, right? Is Jackson Ford was signed before, I'm pretty sure Webby came over. Nick Cordair was signed before Webby came over, all that sort of stuff. But coming into this year, when doing my predicted team list, I need to have a spot for Nick Cordair. I need to have a spot for Jackson Ford. And unfortunately, that does sway where Lecker probably sits in this thing. But I think Lecker will end up pushing for one of those roles by mid to late this year. I think the first young cab off the rank is Vai Moanga, and I do believe that we've teased that he's going to be the next first one off the rank, you know what I mean? He's going to be the one, coming off the bench, I think, to start the season.
Yeah, just shout out to Tony Dubb, man, our channel member. Hope you've been well in the off season, mate. Always appreciate you, Tony. The hair's beautiful, man. It's fine. It's absolutely cool.
I need to trim up the sides, bro. I need to trim up the sides.
I said to him, we said at the start of the show, Tony, that he could come in as a doppelganger for Metcalf. So if Metcalf gets injured, chuck Ash in there. It won't look like it's an interchange, you know. So just pull him out of the crowd, let him play. He's played in the halves before, mate. We're away. Keep a spare interchange if he gets injured mid-game, bro. But nah. Big up Tony. Always good
Metcalf
to see him,
from Wish, brother. Metcalf from Timu.
Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's a good answer to those young guys. I've said Laban I think we kind of agreed Laban was always kind of a slow burn. He might be a guy that might pop off when he's 26 or 27. You know, some guys just break through at a later age, like us. You know, I feel he's kind of in that role. But it is good, solid, like youngsters to see those four kind of pushing. They're like legit pushing. Demetric's definitely one. I agree with you that he's like pushing in line of even Ale and the likes that. So yeah, man, I think it's kind of going to be one of those ones that there's a lot of young, exciting potential. Around the club.
And I think that's where we're pivoting our mindsets are, to the future now.
Yep,
as I said before, the Tomato Martin argument, all that sort of stuff is more of the fact of like, I think we're at a point now that I think a lot of people understand. Like, I thought we had the ability to get top 4 last year. Our premiership threat probably was ended last year with those experienced players. We're now at a point again where it's like when we have whoever these halfbacks or whatever is going to be running out with us, I think we all got to understand it's like even if we had Tomato Martin or Tanner Boyd at half or 6 or whatever it is, I don't think we're going to be a top 4 team. I don't think we're going to be a premiership threat. I think we're going to be fighting to get into that 8. All this stuff is just going to build us for the future and get even better. But if we're top 4 and winning a premiership, I so hope I'm wrong. But I think we're a top 8 team. I think we're fighting for top 8, or we could be a top 8 team. But we haven't got top 4 halfbacks. Tomato Martin played at somewhat of that ability last year, but for a long-term halfback, I don't think he's just there yet.
Yeah, man. I think I think we've covered most of the bases. I just want to kind of hear in terms of probably the last area I want to touch is probably props and specifically JFH and Barnett, but also who are those 3rd and 4th props for you that kind of fill in for that role? I mean, let's be clear. I don't think JFH is going to be that long minute type forward. Be surprised if he is. But history says that he isn't one of those. So, I mean, if we're looking for 2 props off the bench, I mean, who's your 3rd main guy? I mean, some people might say Newcourt, some might say Ale, some might say Dimitri. Who's that kind of next cab off the rank to come off the bench as that prop?
Yeah, for me, I really do think we're swaying towards Vai Moanga. He's probably going to be one of those guys coming off the bench. There's going to be a big impactor there. The other one's a different option of like whether we're going to push Nicodet away from the edge and push him into the middle as promised before, or does it suit us more to have, Jackson Ford become more of a prop now and he kind of become that option. So I've been playing around with that with my predicted team list because when I look at Jackson Ford and Capewell as both edges there, I do think that we need a hard line running edge back row with a bit of aggression. And I think Jackson Ford is a longer minute forward that can do a lot of work, coming off the bench and just like, probably keeping us in the game within that period. Unfortunately, yeah, Bunty's probably being pushed down now into. We probably won't see Bunty too much in the future. And Ale is probably the other one that's probably going to be around abouts where we need him to be. But I do think the young boys of Vaimwanga, Mai Uu, maybe Tom Ale, those are going to be the other guys that are going to be running around there. And as middle depth, you got Dylan Walker there as well. So I think they're definitely our options for our prop options.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about. Vaimonga, I love it. I would love it. I would love it to see him really hold a spot. Yeah, again, this is it's nice to think of your started lineup, but again, things can always change, and you never know. A guy like Dimitri can come through, and yeah. But we're gonna we're not far from wrapping up. I mean, there's a few more things to talk about. Just quickly want to touch on kind of season predictions. We've talked a little bit as we've been talking about it. We feel we're definitely a top 8 team. I've kind of used the example, I shared it last night about the 08 Warriors, where, for our club in its short history, it has been based on pretty much two guys, Stacey Jones and Sean Johnson. And the periods between that have had ups and downs, but there's also been some successes. And I think the 08 team specifically was one of those shining lights that you had a Michael Witt and a Nathan Feen, not high level halves or well known, but seemed to work together. You had the experience of a Wiki, of a Price, a Brent Tate in the centers. You had young players like the Beast coming through, Ropo. You had all these things kind of work, and it was just a core team that got it over the line and proved everyone wrong when they beat Melbourne. I think we're kind of moving into that phase where there's no focal half as such, like these legendary halves, should we say, of a SJ and a Stacey. Now we're kind of moving into that role now where we're not so certain, but there might be some gems along the way. How do you feel this team will kind of go, and what does the new direction look like for us this year?
I agree. I believe this is probably the start of hopefully changing a new era and becoming more of a consistent side. I think we're all hoping that for the Warriors, right? And like when you said the 2008 side, it made me giggle in the car while I was listening to you driving into work. I was like, yo, like I can see that. There's a lot of similarities, and I did love that. And from memory of that 2008 side, like we were predicated on some really damaging outside backs that were getting us in a good field position, but also our forward pack were really, really strong to help out our halfbacks that we did have running in those positions there. And they were very serviceable. They had their moments. Obviously, Witt had his moments as well, as a lot of people remember in those years. And Feen, from memory, did Feen make the New Zealand Kiwi squad?
I think it was in the Kiwis. I think Feen.
Yeah. So obviously, he had a lot of good moments in that jersey as well. I do think that we are in that period now, as you said, that we're moving away from SJ. I think the hope is that Luke Metcalf will become the new face, be that new one there until we find someone. A lot of people are hoping on Jet Cleary in the future to be that successor as well, right? But I think we are in that period now where we want to see consistent football and we want to grow from our roots, our development. And it's something that we've been barking on with Buzz Up TV for the last couple of years. I think we've been hopeful that our first squad is going to be good enough for a premiership in between that period there too. But now we are at that point where I think the Warriors are going to start looking at their juniors really filtering in a little bit. One, drip feed them in, and you'll see a new era of the Warriors and hopefully a more consistent and a damaging era. As I said, when we look at that top 8, I want us to sit in that top 8 and be sit pretty in the top 8 consistently instead of being a team, as we saw from last year with injuries and stuff and throughout the whole Warriors, eras being up and down. And I think this is, that's the task that Webbies have. And I think that's definitely where we're looking at for the future here.
Yeah. And it's a big challenge. I mean, we'll call it what it is. Our defense fell off in a bad way last year. And I know Webby's very much built on, rock solid defense. I'm looking forward to JFH coming in and really changing that up, impacting that, getting back to that core value, like being a team that's tough to beat, not so much a team that go try for try. I enjoy defensive football. I enjoy teams that are rock solid defensively and can keep points down. Well, understanding it's a 6-game era and the game's faster than it's ever been. We've always talked about that sweet spot of 18 points, no more than 3 tries. Is kind of the marker where you want to kind of be in that range. So I'd love to see us get back to that type of football. And also at the same time, again, I think the halves, no matter who it is, I think there's a lot of potential. Like again, you got Leatoa, you got these threats on the outside. You got Leatoa, you got guys that can damage. Even for example, you might see Halasima or Vaimonga just becoming these little shining lights amongst the team. Built while the core elements. I always think it's important to have. Now that Tohu's retired, it's even more important that we got JFH. Can you imagine that if we
100%.
didn't, it put a lot of weight on the likes of a Barnett, Egan. JFH brings in so much now that Tohu's retired. You're even thinking more of kind of settling on him, and it actually might, in a weird way, or maybe it might be a bit too much to put the captaincy on him. It might be Barnett, in fact, because if he became the captain and he's lost AFB, Tohu, SJ, there's a lot of the experienced voices taken out of the club. So I think if it goes with Barnett now, I think with JFH adding his voice in, and actually if you really think about it, it's good that the club is kind of broken away from SJ and AFB because they can be strong characters. Now it's a fresh set of eyes. You know what I mean?
That's exactly my mindset on it. Is I feel like the Warriors the last couple of years, or for a long period, we've been a side that has been built on I'm the biggest SJ fan around, but he's definitely got a big aura, I wouldn't say ego, but he does carry a lot of confidence, a lot of weight, right? And that does have an effect on sides. We had AFB obviously in there. He's got a big aura, he's got this mentality and that these guys have been that part of our club, and we had up and down eras and that, but now when you have Fish in there, if Fish just doesn't seem like the type of guy that's like an egotistical guy that's going to be, it's like me. I'm not saying SJ was that or anything like that, but I do see the difference of, I think Fish is a team type of player. That's the difference, right? He's definitely going to be looking more of a defensive side of things and locking down, getting the boys together close as a group and being more of a balanced side than being a side that's predicated on one big player stepping up in one big moment. And I think that's really where we need to grow into. And I think that's when we talked about this new era. I think that's where we're pushing to, is like Webby wanted to push us to a team-based type of football. Now this is where it really steps into, we are got to be a team-based type of football side now without SJ and all that sort of stuff to be contention, in this competition.
Yeah, so I agree. So there's actually, I know people kind of, are saying that AFB is not the like for JFH, and I agree, but it's totally a different new direction. It's given. I'm super excited for it. Again, going back to that, choose a team that's the best team, not the individuals. I think AFB, we can all accept it that he was an individual.
Oh, incredible!
Sheer piece of brilliance, incredible athlete. But when you're tied in with the balance, I think your JFH will bring that kind of compatibility as a player, and leadership, which is I definitely could see it. Let's call it what it was. Half the time when we would leak points, AFB would just look at and blame everyone else because they had they let him down. Whereas I think it's going to be motivation will be from JFH and the like to motivate, uplift, not to put down, but to uplift. And take them to a new level. That's how I see it anyway. So it's exciting potential to see how this whole new leadership group kind of moves forward with the club. And, I can't wait really.
As I continue to go down to is premiership winning props don't always they're not always individual freaks. There's a reason why the Payne Haas's of the world and all that, they got close to winning premierships 100%, but the props that end up winning premierships are the Fisher Harrises, the Moses Leotas, the Shane Webkes, the Petro Semnasivas, the hard-working, hard-nosed props that work as a team overall. And not say AFB wasn't that, but he was an individual freak, and it very much was a Warriors. AFB was the big man in the middle. Hopefully now it's more spreaded work, and as we touched on with our rotations, with everything, hopefully it is more spreaded out, and we have just leaders everywhere stepping up and playing big games. So definitely, again, I'm with you. I'm excited for this year. I'm not getting too crazy to say top 4 or anything like that, but I do believe we can contest with the top 8 and really push for that top 8 position this year.
And I go. That's why I think the 2008 and teams that are usually like underdog teams or teams that are full of workers or toilers or veterans. They're usually teams that use the load because there isn't one focal piece. And I do give credit to SJ. SJ was was dependent on him to the point where it got too obvious that teams just keyed in on whatever he was doing because everyone else was feeding off of SJ. Now, if you spread that load across the team, I think there's a lot more opportunity for threats in different parts of the park. Puts more responsibility on everyone to step up. Hey, we're not in the SJ era anymore. We're not going to depend on one guy to organize. You have to talk. You have to communicate. He's not. So this puts a lot more weight on everyone, which I think, if we really think about it, that's what we want our club to be. We want everyone to take full responsibility in their areas and in their responsibilities. So that's a big part of it. Totally agree, man.
Yeah. I'm excited, bro. Excited.
Yeah. No, it is. It's exciting, man. I can't wait. I'm building into it. I mean, coming off season, I just got away from footy because once we start, we don't stop. But now my brain's kind of gearing. Once our brain's starting to gear into it, we're starting to get excited, which I definitely am.
We'll be on.
How many weeks till first trial? I think it's maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
February.
So the first one is that.
The
first one is definitely the Sharks one. I think it's a Friday night. I think so.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be February the 7th, Shark vs Warriors, and then Panthers Raiders. So excited for that. I think, it's obviously the 2 US teams, the 4 US teams, they do their first trial, which will probably be the first unit, I'm thinking, in the top of my head, because the next game they have, I'm pretty sure they'll be over in America. If not, they will leave after the other one. From memory, last year, I think majority of the teams played their 3rd unit squad in their second trials. I think. I'm trying to remember it right, but I'm pretty sure they did. So that's what I expect. I think the first trial is going to be a lot of our big boys and stuff like that. They'll get the rest, get on the plane, get to America, get to the training, and you'll see our New South Wales Cup side get out there and play for our second trials. And that's where you get excited for, because they're our juniors for the future, and that's what we're building off of.
Yeah, no, it's okay, Jacko's saying his All-Star game is the same day as our second trial game. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. For anyone that's going to the Hamilton one, the Storm, I'm definitely going because I live in Hamilton, so come catch up. We'll have a little chat as well. Always good to catch up with anyone based in Hamilton, Warriors fans. So yeah, I'll be at that game. It'll be good fun. Just want to quickly get into just some development pathways. I know we're going to do a bit more of that this year, me and Ash. I kind of shared yesterday about the coaching staff, which was great. I think the Tangata Tour, I think he coached them last year. He might have coached Flegg, I can't remember, but he's now the New South Wales Cup coach, I believe. Or TJ Ashford is back at Harold Matts, which is great. Another year for him.
Job last year.
And I think he's going to go up to Flegg once that season's over. I think it's over in April-ish, so he'll move up into Flegg. But any young kids that you're seeing, I'm going to be obviously getting the New South Wales TV this year. I'll follow a lot more games. And actually, guys, if you don't know, the season's starting up pretty much first week of Feb. So there's a lot of action before our boys really get into it to watch our young guys get involved. So if you do get that New South Wales TV, get it. And hopefully we'll see a few more of our games. I mean, the Mets guys and the SG Ball guys, I think it's only maybe 8 or 9 games of regular season. So it's a short window.
It's not too,
So it'd be good to kind of see them,
100%.
Come say hi, bro. We'll sort that out. We'll catch up. Yeah. But yeah, anyone kind of in your kind of mindset. I know a lot of people say Crosby. Crosby's he's probably going to go up to Cup this year. He's probably one. But yeah, anyone in the lower levels, you're thinking they're kind of be,
out of those there's obviously really well-known ones that we all know, Zama, Uuz, Lekalasimers, all those sort of guys. They're New South Wales Cup moving up to NRL, so that they're around our top 30 sort of squads. Toby Crosby is everyone knows about at the moment. Incredible skill set for a prop. Still learning the game, and hopefully he does grow within this period, because I can definitely see him being an amazing prop for the future as well. But some guys that I'm really excited for, Kahu Kappa that we signed off the Roosters and stuff. His athleticism, his body, he reminds me a lot of like a Kristen Inu type. Like he's got the Suoliti type of body sort of frame. Moves really well. Can play fullback, center, wing. Played a lot of those different positions there too. I think I've seen him play 6 as well. But He's someone I'm really excited for. I think he will be in the jersey flag this year. I think he's just too old for the SG ball. So really excited for him overall. Sio Gali, he's been dealing with injuries. He's in our New South Wales Cup squad at the moment, but he's been dealing with injuries. He is probably one of our biggest potential outside backs that we have, other than Pasi Colors that everyone knows about. So get excited for him. Then there's the obvious ones like the Jet Clearys of the world and that everyone's definitely watching out for. But the other one I'm watching out for is our Harold Mats halfback from last year, Jack Thompson. Another year rounds. I want to see him. I think he's moving up to SG ball this year. I like the look of him. He's more of a run first type of halfback, but definitely someone I can see for the future. Good body size, can grow into that body. But yeah, there's a lot of guys I'm really excited for. Obviously, Moy is getting back of injury. Tanner Smith is someone that a lot of people forget about, a prop lock forward. Watching a New South Wales Cup, I want to see more out of him this year because he's definitely someone I've been very high on. But those are the names I'm looking at this year. The big one on the list is Kahu Kappa. I think that just the way he looks, the way he moves with the football, he's someone that I'm really keen to watch to see where we can really drive him for maybe future. He could be our winger for the future. Who knows? Or centre, fullback. He's a talent.
Yeah, that's actually a good one to earmark. Kahu Kappa. I think his dad there's these guys that are recruitment guys, agents. I think I'm not sure if it was his dad or someone, but he might have been brought him back. But yeah, a lot happening behind the scenes, and we're definitely guys going to be trying to improve that space of trying to follow the young guys and the women's. So expect a bit more content in that space.
Yep.
Greg Hook, just quickly, the Sky TV put the Warriors. So Sky TV put it on the Warriors. Yes, they are. Every NRL game should be on Sky. Based on the contract, even the one in the US, I think. Yep, for sure. And I think it'll be about midday for us here in New Zealand. I'm thinking, based on
I think
the time
it's around about midday for us as well. You're still on daylight savings over there, eh?
Yeah. We're not till April, so yeah, we'll probably be in the afternoon for us over here. But yeah, guys. Okay, we just got a few more announcements, guys, and we're going to wrap up. I mean, there's heaps to talk about. Next week we might have a totally different topic, and we're kind of 2 or 3 weeks out. So we'll break down more stuff, but it's great to hear everyone's questions and thoughts in the chat. Quickly, guys, we are on about 40 likes. We're 10 away. If there's 10 of you in there, help us get to 50. Just hit that like button, and if you are new here, subscribe as well. 1 p.m. Thank you, Jazz, for that update. 1 p.m. New Zealand time, guys. So it'll be a good time to watch the game. Just quickly, last, guys. We've shared about our membership programs. We're grateful for 4 new members last night. It was cool to see. We are now adding some more stuff to the first grader package. So as part of that, we have created a super coach. Explain it to me, Ash. I'm new to the whole super coach stuff. So I'll probably lose. But for all of our first grade members that are big super coach people, we're going to create our own league here at Wires Up TV, and we'll send out the link for you guys to join. For our members, expect that on the community tab. But also feel free to email me just quickly here at Wires Up TV, and I will send you the link there, guys. So wiresuptv@gmail.com. Send me an email if you are a member. This is only exclusive for members. So, and then then I'll send you out the link as well. Man, explain it to us.
And guys, like when we do send over the code, make sure you run through the way to get into the league. So you open up your app, you move over to your leagues overall. So you got all your leagues, and you go into create and join league. You move down until it says join a private league, and that is where you put your code to jump in. So Supercoach, for everyone that doesn't really know, very similar to the other game that NRL put out there, NRL Fantasy. I prefer Supercoach overall. I've been playing Supercoach for a long time now, so that's the way I go about it. But for anyone that doesn't know, Supercoach is just a fantasy league. If anyone's seen how, fantasy in NFL, NBA, you pick these certain players, that you have a salary cap. And basically you just pick these players under the salary cap and try to build on the money, try to get the best players into your club. and you accrue points on how good they're played out in that football field. So you also lose points for missed tackles, errors. So if you've got a player that has horrible error rate and all that, you probably don't want to have him in your side. If you've got a guy that scores a lot of tries, scores a lot of points, runs for a lot of meters, all those sort of things, you definitely want them in your side. Just a little tip for super coaches out there too. Jump over on my channel. Me and Brody will be doing a Thursday night super coach thing next week. So we're starting that up again because all the leagues are opened up as well. But if you're just getting into super coach, my little tip to everyone is your key positions to start off with. You want to lock down fullbacks. They are the best scoring position in Supercoach overall. Move around to your halfbacks. They're your second best overall, second or third best scoring position. Your winger centers, and then everything else fill in between. Front row forwards, probably your least effective scoring area. So make sure you choose wisely in that area as well. A lot of people go one gun or so, but it's going to be exciting. It's our overall league, guys, as well. So all the points that you score in your Supercoach, no matter what, it goes into that league, and basically you rise up our league, and we'll probably announce every week on All You Can Eat Warriors who's on top of the league on Wise Up TV or out on a Monday. So gonna be excited. Your boy Ash is I'm a veteran in these games, guys. So get excited.
Hey, you might not be allowed to play, man. Come on, you might beat us. You might be too good. Hey, just shout out to Tohu. I think this is his league. I think Tohu, are you inviting people into this is the code for his league, I believe. So jump in there. If you want to jump into Tohu's one as well, guys. He says there is a chat line there. I hope that's not like a chat line. If you're feeling a bit down, they might.
We're gonna be talking some mad shit right here. Let's go. Get in that chat.
Yeah, so we're gonna send that link out. Otherwise, guys, again, my email is wiseuptv@gmail.com. Send me an email and I'll send you the link. Otherwise, I will send it on the community tab for just the first graders to join. And please don't share that out if we find that other people will join, blah, blah, blah. You know how it is. But it's for all of our first graders. Just a big shout out to my man, Tony Dub. Doesn't have to do it, but appreciate you as always, Tony. Channel member as well. And appreciate the $10. Thank you as always for supporting us and everyone. We're really, truly grateful for you, man. Thank you very much for that. And Toilet Inspector got some good little advice. Don't mess up with the SC State of Origin rounds like I did my first time. Had stuff all the players those rounds. Okay, that's a good little tip to remember. Mate, I feel I'm going to fail. So I might have to go by an alias. Who is this guy?
There's a lot of plannings here, Bala. Like, feel free, but don't be that guy to put every New Zealand warrior in every single position there, because that's not the way you go about it. But it's definitely a lot of emphasis is a lot of times around around your State of Origin round, stuff like that. Kiwi players are like amazing. So, your Jerome Hugheses of the world, your Joseph Tarpaners, those are the players that you end up looking for to fill in those spots and that. But Supercoach has made it a little bit easier for people around that that State of Origin period now, which is good. But yeah, get excited, Levon. Join.
Yeah, man. I definitely will. So yeah, we're gonna send that link out, guys, to you very soon. We'll leave it there. Anything else, Ash, that's on your mind that we need to kind of share, or you kind of happy to leave it at there? I mean, we've still got a bit more time next week before we get any more news. I mean, just quickly, the money that Tohu from retiring frees us up cap space wise. Do we have to use that money this year, or can we put it for next year? Do you know anything about that?
You can get exemptions. I've seen or heard of you can get exemptions. I'm pretty sure the Dolphins a couple of years back had to get exemptions because they weren't able to spend all their cap. Or you could just filter it between your players. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you have to spend like 90-something% of your cap or whatever overall. We are starting to get a war chest now too. People do forget. Like Adam Finnall-Blake was on around about that. It was, I think a lot of rumors were around over that $1 million mark.
Yeah.
Tohu would have been up the 800K sort of mark. Sean Johnson would have been around about that mark as well, guys. So that's a lot of money that we have in our cap. So we do have the ability to go chasing big players, but I think the club do need to be smart and obviously, let our juniors develop in that and not go crazy on signing big players, like big name players. I don't really want to see like the Cheeses of the world or the Nelson Asofa Solomonas over to the Warriors. I want to see really good, intuitive signings and just build for the future. I think that's the best thing for it. But yeah, I think, that's what it is.
Yeah, great point, man. Like a signing like JFH made sense, and it makes even more sense now. Exactly. Like I said, those are the types of ones where you want to put some money into it and make it happen. So, okay, that's great. We'll leave it there, guys. Thanks, Ash, once again, man. As always, everyone's missed you, man. There was last night saying, "Where's Ash, man? We can't wait to see him back." He's back, people. He's back on his own channel as well. Do you want to just give a debrief of what shows you're doing this year, what to expect even on your channel for content? I know everyone would love to, and we'll go over to your shows as well. But just quickly share what you're up to, man.
Yeah, so I've got 2 live shows that we're going to be bringing to my channel this year. They're my consistent shows every week. So we got me and Brody do Down Unders on a Wednesday night. So that is tomorrow night, guys. We'll be doing the Warriors predicted team list for this year as well on that one. The Broncos. We're doing the next 4 teams. We did the bottom 4 teams last week. If you missed that episode, go check that out as well. But also next Thursday, as we kind of touched on before, me and Brody will be doing a Supercoach live stream. So we're going to call that the lockout Thursday nights before the lockout of the NRL Supercoach. We're going to give you our predicted our team list going into the week, our thoughts on captain options, that sort of stuff. So get excited for that as well. And all other little bit of content, guys. I'll just put up, my thoughts on certain players, certain things during the year. So keep an eye out on my channel, hit the notification bell. So if any videos pop up, jump in and say hello and comment, because I love just chatting with you guys in the chat. It opens up my view set on many different things.
Man, that's going to be huge, absolutely. If for people that are doing Supercoach, to get that info, that first-hand knowledge from Ash and his experiences, and even the Down Under show, everything that he's doing, man, is going to be awesome. So please get over to that as well. Get over to this TikTok and Instagram, Ash Thomas. Those are important as well, guys. Support that. But yeah, no, thank you everyone that's been in the chat. It's great to see everyone, man. Nearly everyone that we know, that's the usuals, the regulars, they're straight back in. So it's great to see everyone pop their heads in and say hi. We're looking forward to more content with you guys. We'll be back, obviously next week. No games, so we'll keep thinking of ideas and content. But we'll put out some videos the week. We'll chop some of this stuff up to kind of repurpose if you wanted to watch it again. But feel free to watch the live again if you feel like it. Hit that like and subscribe as always, guys. And we'll leave it there, guys. Stay safe. Up the wires as always. Catch you next week. Peace.
Peace.